woman. Just by the picture, she's so beautiful. I'm so excited to have her. And let me tell you a little bit more about our warrior queen, which is how she is called on her email at least. So she is an award-winning entrepreneur and community leader, 3 times author and international speaker. Kamshuka is a mindfulness practitioner and certified life and wellness coach with a focus on self-love and wellness. She is the founder of I Am Warrior International and the creator of the Conscious Warriors online store. Kamshuka is one of 100 accomplished Black Canadian women of 2020 and has been recognized as one of Canada's women making history. And last but not least at all, she is a war child survivor of the Uganda Civil War, and her focus is based on shifting mindset patterns while creating spaces for inspired, elevated, and deep soul conversations. Thank you, Kamshuka, for being here. We are so honored to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a great way to start Friday morning. I love it. I'm excited. I really enjoyed those breakout rooms and just sharing the promises we have made to ourselves and what we want of ourselves. So this is perfect. So thank you again, Creative Mornings Toronto. I'm here to really just encourage you to keep or make those promises to yourself. The one question I do want to start with is, what is disrupting your flow? Just think about it for a minute. What is disrupting your creativity? What could possibly be blocking what you want to happen this year for yourself? I want to talk about promises, and I know that we grow up on promises, right? When we're children, our parents make promises and sometimes they don't keep the promises, and as we get older, we learn that promises are important. And then we also learn that sometimes promises are made and they're not kept. So we form an idea of what promises look like. And I'm here simply to give you the idea that make a promise to yourself and hold yourself to it. Now, I know this is the year, or last year was a very different year for all of us. And I know that, the pandemic happened and a lot of us had so many expectations for the year. And so much happened and we had to learn what it meant to adjust our expectations. So I'm not here to force an idea on you that you have to put expectations on yourself and hold yourself to it. I simply want to just get you started on the little promises we can make to ourselves. So number one promise I want to tell you all about is the trust we built when it comes to our inner guidance. So promise to listen to your inner guidance. Now, a lot of people consider that to be energy or your vibe. It could be that gut feeling you feel. It could be the spirit, whatever you call it. We have to learn what it means to trust it. See, the side effects of not trusting that inner guidance is being tired, it's being burnt out and feeling exhaustion. Just like when you don't listen to your body, when you're feeling sick or you're feeling tired, but you just keep going. So listening to our inner guidance is equally important. So I want to encourage you to get to a place where you promise yourself to go with your gut, that you will make place and make room within yourself to listen to your guidance, your inner guidance. The second promise I want to give you is the promise to give yourself peace. See, as a war child survivor of the Ugandan Civil War, many things have happened in my life, so many circumstances that I couldn't control. much like this pandemic. We can control it to an extent. We could do our part, but we have learned that sometimes we don't know what's going to happen day to day, and we can't always say what will take our peace. It's true, a lot can take our peace. Relationships can take our peace. Circumstances in this world, being stressed. But if you promise to give yourself peace, that's a comforting place to start. Now, this is understanding yourself on a soul level, right? So when you are in need of that isolation or the peace, you're in need of a break, promise to give yourself that. Allow yourself to get into a place where peace becomes your number one. Now, I know there's been a lot of things, including politics, the pandemic, all these things have created a place of fear within us. And now, as you can see, life is very different for us. We think differently when we step out of our houses. We stay home intentionally. We do a lot from home. Very different world. And I understand what this leaves us with. Sometimes it leaves us with fear. Now, fear is no friend of mine. Fear is my fuel. But I want to encourage you to come into a place where peace becomes your covering. So, regardless of what's happening in the world, regardless of where it's coming from, that you will always give yourself that promise, the promise of peace. This is aligning yourself with courage. It means that regardless of your circumstance, you will give yourself the moment that you call a peaceful place within yourself. So it could be in your home. It could be creating sacred spaces in your home. It could be creating sacred spaces in your mind. The moments when we are emptying out our minds and trying to align ourselves mindfully. These are moments of peace. So promise to give yourself that. Now, the side effects of, not giving yourself peace is fear. And we do not want to live by fear. So I encourage you to find that peace within your own areas of life. The third promise, and this is a very important one, is the promise to have mental health breaks. I know we are doing sometimes a little more than we used to because a lot of us are working from home. If we have kids, we are also the teacher's assistant. A lot is different. And if you're in a place where you're looking for a job or you're stressed, these are moments that require us to make those promises to ourselves. So promise to give yourself a mental health break. It's simply the moment that you choose to let go. It's the moments you design for yourself that allows you to let go of the stress that you're feeling, the fear, the anxiety, and all of that stress that comes with hanging on to something that you should let go. And when we allow ourselves to get into a place where we can create mental breaks for ourselves, we allow ourselves to be able to find clarity. I want you to be able to find clarity in all of your decisions. So this is this is a hard promise because we are so designed to just keep going. I just want you to know that sometimes rest is being productive. We are so used to wanting to keep busy and just going, and the world stopped. The world paused, and it was shattering because we've never experienced this before. But I can tell you, having survived war as a child and having survived war in my mind as an adult, I can tell you that the moments that we face, they're not going to stay forever. As a 4-year-old being in Uganda, hearing the sounds of war, the gunfire, the military, looking outside the window and seeing the soil in the sky, seeing the dust, seeing just my friends, my neighbors not alive. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the sounds of war that leave me with the moments when I have to bring myself back, where I have to remind myself, you know, these circumstances don't last forever. And it was these 3 days in my memories that we were in this little washroom, this little walk-in closet, and we stayed there for 3 days and 3 nights while the military pretty much went through our street, killing everybody on our street. And I write about this in my first book, my first published book, Becoming Warrior, because it reminds me that all the things that we go through are to help us get to a place where we are stronger. See, it's not that you have to be strong all the time. In fact, you can find strength in weakness when we're able to let go of the things that we hold ourselves to, like those expectations. Now, I would say, adjust your expectations. You know, the world is different, so we require something different now. Hold yourself to the promises you make. One thing that has been extremely important to me in my life is the little promise I made myself when I was a little girl. During those moments where the military was shooting and we were in this little room, of course, I asked my dad, I'm a child, so I asked my father if we're going to live. And he said, of course, just close your eyes and think of yourself as a big girl. Imagine yourself older. And I didn't realize this, but this moment was him teaching me how to visualize. This was me visualizing where I wanted to be. This was the silent promise I was making myself. The promise to get older and to be thriving and to find greatness. See, it was scary during those moments. And from that time to adulthood, it's been a journey. I've walked through the PTSD, and I've walked through the depression of it all, and I've walked through the moments I've had to alter my thinking, change the patterns, look at myself differently. But I could tell you, it starts with the little promises. It's the little promises you make yourself. So promise to listen to your inner guidance. Promise to give yourself peace. And promise to take mental health breaks, no matter how small they are, and whatever you are able to do. Promise to be good to yourself. We want this world to give us peace, and we want kindness from others. But we are so hard on ourselves. And I want to encourage you to find a place where you are your safe haven, where you can find kindness within yourself. See, peace of mind and inner peace isn't something that just comes to us. This is something that we have to learn to flow with. We desire success. We desire abundance. We desire good things for ourselves, and we desire joy. But all of that is found in peace. When you give yourself peace, you are allowing yourself to align with your greatness, because it's from that place of peace that you can function in clarity. And it starts with the little promise to give yourself this, because all the accomplishments, all the achievements is found in peace. It's in the flow to freedom that we discover our peace. So be exactly what you desire. Be exactly who you want to be, and let it start with the promise you give yourself. Peace be with you. Thank you so much for listening.
All right. Thank you, Kamshuka. Everybody, how about we get a little applause here? Little silent applause for Kamshuka.
Thank you.
Kamshuka, my friend, how are you? Thank you for
I'm
joining.
good. Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing. I said it's a great way to start a Friday.
Well, actually, that really brings us to the first question we have. First of all, Kamshuka, are you a
Yes.
morning person?
I thought I was. A lot of the things I think of myself, I seem to go against at times. So I will say 50-50. I think when the sun is shining, I'm up and I'm ready to go.
Kamshuka, I am 100% on board. There are times where I'm a 6 a.m. person, and there are times when I'm an 11 a.m. person.
Yeah, exactly. And I
And
allow myself to be that way. I'm okay with that.
Kyla is one of our members, and she had a question, and this is why I asked about the mornings. She says, what are some of your morning routines that you do to kind of set
Oh,
yourself up? You talked about setting yourself up with intention. What are some of your morning
yes.
routines?
Absolutely. So my morning routine consists of, first of all, when I get up out of bed, I stretch. So I'm still in bed, but I do a
Bed.
mix. Yeah, it just seems like seems like if I transport myself, I might not want to stretch. So I sit up and I stretch, and I just get my body kind of, moving again. I think as we get older, sometimes we don't realize that, we're becoming very stiff. And so stretching is a huge part of my morning routine. And after I've done that, I'm a firm believer in setting the atmosphere. So I usually have my Palo Santo. I'll show it to you.
What is it?
It's called Palo Santo.
Okay.
And I just light it, and it's a beautiful fragrance. It smells like frankincense, and it just really just uplifts my space. And from there, I do my meditation, and I welcome, myself into my day, and I affirm myself. Sometimes I have great things to say to myself when it comes to my affirmations, and other times I'm just like, you got it today. Today you got it. Let's just do this, and then I go off.
And then you go off. I love that.
I
You know
do.
what? Can you say, okay, I have never heard of Palo Santo. I wrote it down.
Yes.
Before
Yes.
you eat today, can you write that down in the chat so I can go buy some?
Absolutely.
Can you go
Actually,
ahead
my
and direct
store.
the store?
Actually, in my store, Conscious Warriors, I have them there, and you can read about it and all of that.
And we're going
So
to make sure to share that with you. I have another
yes,
question here. And this
yes.
was from Kelsey. And Kelsey, and this is actually, I was very curious about this too. Your third promise is like you promise to take mental health breaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's super
Yes.
hard to do. I'm guilty of it. I think I've ruined many a relationship because I take mental health
Yeah.
breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know,
Mm-hmm.
there's some examples of mental health breaks that you've heard, and then maybe some that you do. And
Absolutely.
I'll tell you one of mine that I've recently started doing.
Mm-hmm.
I take a really, I leave my phone in my house and I walk around the block and then I come back. And
Oh,
the
that's
first
good.
times I did it, the anxiety I felt about missing an email, just the pure
Mm.
fear. And I started walking faster, and now my goal is to walk slower.
That's good.
Other
That's
things you've heard?
really good. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
So other
Um,
things you've heard, and maybe like some things that you do.
Absolutely. I love that, leaving the phone, um, because we're attached to our phones, right? And there's so much that happens there. Our whole world is on our phones. Something that I've been doing, and I am working from home. I do a lot of virtual presentations, so everything happens in my home. And I have kids also. They're in school, at home. Everybody's home, so I've been kind of just disappearing to my room and not telling anyone, when. Like they're in school, but sometimes they need me. So I find times when they're really occupied, and I just shut it all down. Like, I'm not emailing, I'm not responding, I'm not doing anything. I just come to my room and I lay in my bed. And that, I would have thought that was a very lazy thing to do in the past, uh, just in the middle of the day, laying in my bed. But it's really just 10 minutes. I lay in my bed and I really just do my breathing, because there's so many moments where breathing, we forget to breathe, and then we build on the anxiety. So that's what I do. So I literally get away in that way. In the past, I did a lot of traveling, so I was able to fix that, go away. And now it's a little different. So I get away to my room. So that's one thing I
Brilliant.
do.
And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask. So I have one more question for you, just for the sake
Yes.
of time, because I want to be conscious of your time. I'm going to ask two things of our audience. Number one, please share if you have anything that you do to make mental breaks. Because one person, Sharida, already shared one, and I'd love to hear some other ones of like how you all take a moment to pause for yourself. I used to drink way too much water, so I'd have to get up. This is
That's
another
good.
example. But I have another question for you. Okay, and this one is actually very curious. I fell in love with Atlanta. I think like
Yes.
you used to live in Atlanta, and I was wondering
Yes.
if you could talk a little bit about your story of the doll, which you had
Yes.
that book. I'm so sorry. Let me. I'm the nervousness of speaking is kind of girl power uncensored.
Yes.
And you have another book called Becoming Warrior, and that's also available on your website. And I thought that one was really great. But there was a cute little
Thank you.
story in that one.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Um, I, like you, I love Atlanta, and I built some really great relationships in Atlanta. And so the book is called Girl Power Uncensored. And I decided to share this story that I had not shared even in Becoming Warrior. This is the story of the lost doll. And I'll just set it up a little bit for you. So, the Civil War was happening and so much had happened. I wasn't with my mother. So it was my father, myself, and my brother. And my mother had actually left the country. And the idea was to be able to, bring us wherever she was. So when we got on a plane, the plan was to reunite with my mother. So my father, myself, and my brother, we got on this plane, and I got the gift of this beautiful doll. It could have been a Barbie doll. I have no idea. I just know she smelled amazing, and she was so beautiful and so pretty. And I remember thinking in my head, the little promise I made myself as a little girl, that I want to get older and I want to live this full life. And so I thought, this doll is so beautiful. And here we are, we're about to see my mom, and it's a beautiful moment. So we're on the plane, and just like little kids do on airplanes, I
You
fell
freaked out.
asleep.
Oh, okay, freaked
I
out.
fell
I
as
freaked out. You fell asleep. I freaked out.
no,
One
I
time
was
I'll tell you the
excited.
story about how I almost got kicked off a plane when I was 5. But anyway,
Oh
keep going.
no. Oh, you were one of those kids. No, I was excited. I was so happy because we were going to see my mom. I hadn't seen her. And so this was the moment, but I fell asleep and the doll fell down. And, when you're doing connecting flights, so we got off the plane really quickly. We were in Dubai and we were heading to India, where we thought my mother was. And in Dubai, I lost the doll. So I didn't realize. And when we got on the plane to India, I realized, and I started, this is when I freaked out. I started crying, and this doll is not here. And my father said, don't worry, because when we see your mom, she'll have lots of dolls for you. And it was like, but this doll was my promise. I felt like we were connected, And so I lost this doll. And of course, the story goes, we get to India, my mother's not there. And it was 3 years of living in India, and just holding on to this promise that we would reunite and I would see my mother. And I write about the lost doll because what I learned from that was that there are so many moments in our life, when we feel lost ourselves. And sometimes we lose jobs, sometimes we lose relationships, we lose a lot a lot has been lost last year. And I decided that I wanted to remember that moment, because we can lose everything, but do not, never, ever, ever lose yourself. See, the promise you make to yourself holds you alive. So lose everything. Let everything go if you must, but never lose yourself. And by taking those mental breaks, by giving ourselves peace, this is how we keep ourselves together. The ending of that story is that finally, at the age of 7 years old, we did reunite. We reunited with my mother in the Middle East,
Wow.
and she met us at the airport with 2 dolls, and I was like really happy to see the doll and really happy to see her. So I felt myself again. But I took that story in life constantly to remind myself that things happen, we lose stuff, but just never ever lose yourself.
I think that's such a great, if I may, a definition for becoming warrior, isn't it?
Yes,
Which is the
absolutely.
book, not, not losing yourself. I think that's great. In a moment, I'm
Absolutely.
going to be asking some people to do some 30-second pitches. So everyone right now, if you have a 30-second pitch, you can of course put it in the chat. Just put your name and I have a pitch and we'll follow you through. Please feel free to stay, or I know you have a busy day, so feel free to go.
Thank you.
But I think the one question that everyone has in their mind, because someone posted a little bit about this, what was your promised doll animal as a child, right? I have my childhood teddy bear. I'm not
Mm.
ashamed to say it. I'm not saying it's in my bed all the time, but it's not a stranger. I'm sure there's many a person here that still has their childhood pets. Like I can see by the smiles on everyone's faces. And you still
It's
have
a
a
great,
doll.
it makes us smile, doesn't it? Of course, I love dolls. And when I reunited with my mother, I had tons of dolls. I have 4 kids now. They're kind of my dolls. From 17, 15, 8, and 6. So I kind of have real life dolls, but whatever you need to hold on to.
Kamshuka, thank you so much for joining us here at Creative Mornings. It was
Thank
lovely to
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Where people want to find out more about you, yes, we will share it in the chat, but could you just say your
Yes,
website one more time where you have like,
absolutely. Yes, it's The Conscious Warriors, and everything is over there. All my books are there, all my events, everything, including my products, are there as well. And stay connected and follow me on Instagram under Kamshuka. And I look forward to continuing this conversation.